a moment before we go further. It says, are you ready to catch the wave? We're here talking about a technology that we believe can help you grow just about any business. In a few moments, we will shift gears and we'll talk about participating in Talk Fusion as a principal income generator. And for those of you who have had past success in the network marketing industry, let me ask you a question. Did you ride a wave, or did you create a wave that other people rode? Think about that for a second. Those of you who have participated in the industry historically and have wondered why some people have really had breakthrough successes and you've had more modest success, look at those who've had great success and ask yourself the question, did they ride a wave, or did they create a wave that other people rode? Our intention, very specifically, is to create a leadership structure that creates waves that others can ride for the next long, long, long time. Decide where you fit in the process. Do you want to ride a wave? We'll help you do that. But do you want to create a wave that others ride for the next 20 years? That's where the real rewards are, folks. When we look at the next video, this next slide, and it says video email, I invite you to put an asterisk on that in your mental notes and contemplate the way that you communicate, whatever is your preferred method of digital communication. Is it TikTok? Is it Instagram? What is the method that you use? If email is it, fantastic. This product works perfectly for it. And that is the most widely used video communication, or the most widely used communication method on a digital standpoint in the world, more than 340 billion emails annually. But are there many, many, many other methods of delivering information as well? TikTok, Instagram, and so on. Of course, you choose the way you want to communicate. Our technology works in your preferred platform. Really, really critically important. I think back to various times in my life when I at times had others reporting to me, or I was in a sales management capacity of some kind. The last thing I wanted was to have my counterparts spending a lot of time learning. I wanted them engaging in the revenue producing activities. It is so easy for a well-intended person to spend all of their time learning. A little bit of time learning is okay. A lot of time learning winds up being most frequently avoidance behavior. Easier to spend more time learning than to engaging in revenue producing activities. That is one of the reasons for personal branding. When it helps a person feel better about himself or herself, he or she is then encouraged, they are empowered, and they will make more approaches of whatever kind is necessary for that particular business. I assure you, this is a 90-second, 120-second tutorial. No one will struggle trying to figure out how to make it work. This will be an easy thing, and it will cause you and your organization to improve in effectiveness almost immediately. It is extremely difficult in this case to separate personal use from business use because the two come together. I think they blend almost entirely. Imagine for a moment that you're a real estate agent, or that you're a mortgage broker, or that you are trying to launch or grow or support and sustain a new private school that you've opened and operated, or that you own the best private school in town and everybody knows that, but you're trying to retain that position and that branding. Don't you suppose that it'd be a good idea to send greetings to those who are in your business? If you're sending a greeting to a parent of a child that's in your school, is it personal? Yes. Does it also have a business purpose? Yes. If we send a Hallmark greeting card, then we're sending the words, the thoughts, the emotions expressed by some writer at Hallmark, and they don't understand the relationship. What if, on the other hand, you send a message to a parent whose child attends your school? It's in a beautifully created, customized template. It says best birthday ever, but then what it opens up is you saying, happy birthday, Miss Larkin, and I want to personally thank you for the extraordinary job you're doing with our little boy Bosco. You're a gift in his life and therefore in ours. Happy birthday, we appreciate you. Do you suppose that would not get a little more traction? Might that not be received differently than the typical Hallmark card? Yeah, or even a little handwritten note? I think so. And is it not entirely likely that even those who got involved utilizing this product purely and simply and only with the idea of growing the business, improving the relationship with the parent of the child who goes to our school, is it not entirely likely that Ms. Larkin would respond and say, that was cool, or that the recipient would say, that was cool, I'd like to use that too. And just like that, without even trying, he or she has positioned themselves to earn royalties as others act upon that positive method of information delivery. I think impossible to separate, in this case, business use from customer use. They come completely and totally together. Looking specifically at business applications, I contemplate the fact that Samantha and I, we moved from California to Utah 4 years ago, and upon doing, we had to find all new service providers and all new vendors. New people to wash our windows, new people to do our landscaping, a new pediatric dentist, a new dentist, new orthodontist. We had to have new people, a new OBGYN for Samantha, and a new ophthalmologist for me, and on it goes. You know what? It was no more than literally a crapshoot or a lottery game. It was like I took a dart and threw it at a board and selecting those service providers. Nobody stood out. Nothing was unique. We moved into an affluent zip code. We're on everybody's recruit list, but nobody stood out. If one person in each vending capacity had been utilizing this service, then I would have not just received a text or an email, but was the written word, which, as we know, is the least important part of all communication. I would have seen the smile, the attitude, the energy, the posture, the poise, the communication skills, everything that I would need to know about the person would shine through, or at least much that I would need to know about the person would shine through. I know that a dentist can fix my teeth. I need to know about the person if I'm going to make an individual selection. I believe that the business uses blend almost completely together with the personal uses. And the charity, this for me is yet another personal use, so described here as charity. A part of my life experience, we all have our life's experiences, but part of mine was I had an extraordinarily difficult time with drugs and alcohol for many, many, many years. There came a time when I needed to go to rehab, and I did. I also, by the way, there have been times in my life when my business needed rehab. Maybe you feel that way now. Maybe a wrong turn or two along the way. Maybe your brand, whatever that is, over the years has been damaged. Maybe your business needs a rehab. This is the most remarkable rehab I could possibly offer you for a business. But I also, upon exiting that rehab, was now solidly sober, but I didn't feel safe. And I actually went and stayed for a period of time in a Carmelite monastery. And each morning in that Carmelite monastery, it was me and 54 nuns. It was quite an experience. But each morning in that Carmelite monastery, I would go to the chapel and I would hear those nuns singing the morning office, it was called. And as they would sing the morning office, I remember that I'd have a tear in my eye and a catch in my breath. And you guys all know what that feels like and the experiences that you have that causes that feeling. I read a book while I was in that monastery called The Interior Castle, authored by Teresa of Avila. And she said that what had happened was that when I heard the sisters singing, that had dilated my soul, such that it could let in more light. And now that my soul let in more light, I could see things from the perspective of others. Instead of from the human perception of selfish and self-centered, I was able to, for at least a moment, be somewhat selfless. And that's what happens when one's soul is dilated. Now, I question if the financial outreach of those sisters might be more positively impacted instead of sending a nice card, and they're beautiful, they're nice. But what if instead I received a message in a custom branded template that said the Carmelite Sisters of the Most Sacred Heart of Los Angeles, and there was a picture of the Maitre d' Chapel where I sat so many times and listened to them singing, and there was on the image a Carmelite nun in full habit, which is a vision that I love. And then upon opening it, I hear them singing the morning office. Having now had my soul once again dilated, do you suppose my checkbook would likewise be more open in that next financial outreach? I think so. And times that by every charity, times that by the ones that you love and care about. Imagine helping them brand themselves so that immediately upon seeing them, it calls to mind the attitude and the energy that one has when they love a project and donate to it. The custom templates of tremendous worth, whether it be from a business standpoint or a charitable standpoint. I think that extremely important is this concept of real-time reporting. I contemplate a book that I read a number of years ago called The Fortune is in the Follow-Up. And that can be true, but it depends a little bit on the how and why. If I send to Greg recruiting a prospecting message of some kind, and then I follow up, because I've been taught the fortune is in the follow-up. If I follow up before he has opened it, then I may feel like I'm following up, and Greg may well feel like I'm being pushy. You know what? I've never caught a single candidate that I've chased. They will run faster than me. I need to respond to people when they would like me to respond to them. It's not about me. It is about them. It's the big thing I have to learn. It's not about what I want and when I want it. It is about what my candidate or my client wants and when he or she wants it and how they want to receive it. So when I get notified that they've received the message, that is important, because that lets me follow up appropriately. But I think of perhaps even greater importance for a true professional will be modifying our message to meet the needs of the candidate. How do we do that? Well, if I send a message to Tom and I I sent a 2-minute message and I see that he's watched 1.5 minutes of it and then clicked off. It was as though he called me on the phone and said, "Hey, Randy, when you communicate with me, cut to the chase, get it out in 90 seconds. That's how much bandwidth I've got for you right now." That's important information. Now I can follow up next time the way he wants me to. My next communication will be as he desires. On the other hand, I send Greg a message that's 3 minutes long and I see that he's watched it 4 times all the way to the conclusion. It's like he called me and said, "Hey, Randy, I am crying out for more information. Please provide more information." This idea of real-time reporting and being able to modify our processes based upon that reporting is of literally immeasurable worth. I start out these discussions talking about the ways that the product can help you grow and sustain just about any business. And I will now describe the last things that I would need to know if I were determining if this would be a right product for me to use in my business. And it would simply be to select which one. The obvious answer for me would be yes, this would help. Video branding, an ability to separate myself from anybody else. Pretty simple. The question is which one is appropriate for me. 3 options: the starter package, robust, but obviously the least robust of the 3. 1,000 professionally designed and ready-to-use templates. You spend $175. That gives you access to the library, a $20 per month ongoing fee to retain access to the library and to the ongoing upgrades and updates to it. You'll get 1 custom video email template branded specifically to you the way that you want it to look. 5-minute recording time. You can import up to 2,500 contacts with 2 gigabytes of storage. And then the next 2 packages, logically and rationally, would be what? These would be for those who have bigger businesses, multiple messages to deliver. The elite package doubles the amount of recording time. It doubles the contacts one can import. It doubles the storage. It's $350 one time with an ongoing monthly fee of $40. And the professional package for those whose lives are a little large, maybe kind of noisy and busy, an ability to communicate in a variety of different ways with 10 custom designed templates, with 10-minute recording time, 10,000 contacts, and critically important, the ability to private label those custom designed templates. Really, really important. Now, I have described to you every single thing I would need to know and more in order to make a decision to utilize the product to advance my business, whatever my